Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second leadership series. Today we're starting the second framework, which is all about preparation is control. So today it's like a complex topic. At the same time, it's very easy, but the thing is we're going to tackle a double-edged sword. On one side, we're going to oversee the preparation is control for service, and this is what you're having inside this beautiful framework. And on the opposite side, I would like to also extend it into your private lives as well. Because the way you're going to prepare yourself into your life and the way you're going to prepare yourself into career will be made on how you create different opportunities for yourself. And as I explained into the first framework, or at least on the last training that we did together, my goal is to make you rise as individuals more than professionals. My goal is not to make you only good here inside this restaurant, but to give you and share with you the values and the principles that will help you for the rest of your career and hopefully for the rest of your life. Because obviously we're all gonna spend a little bit of time here. Maybe 6 months, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, and then at some point, all of us will end up moving on with our lives. In hospitality, in real estate, in photography, or any other thing or fields that you guys are currently working. So again, what I've been learning into my life and to my career is that all the soft skills that you guys are learning at work, at least into this hospitality world, can also be applied into your private lives. So this is why I will make some back and forth between the professional and then trying to replicate it into your private lives. So as you guys can notice, all of us have 24 hours in a day. And I don't know if you guys have ever thought why some people can accomplish more in 24 hours than others. Some of us can always feel stressed and always run late and always struggle because they cannot keep on time. But I think it's all about preparation and anticipation in what you do. Let's start with work, for example. The way you show up to work. Some people always arrive 5 minutes in advance and some people arrive always 5 to 10 minutes late. It's always something. And perhaps everybody leaves the house at the same moment, right? Some people are on time for pre-shift, some others are late. Some people are struggling to keep their session uptight and some people are shining and makes things flowing. And I don't know if you guys have realized with the different profiles that you guys have been working with and surrounded with, some people work hard and make it look like it's very easy, while others always seems to be rushed and panicking because it's always a little bit overwhelming, right? So again, there are reasons why some people stay calm under pressure and some others, especially when the rooms get loud and busy. But again, it's not about talent. It's not about the confidence or the natural ability, but it's all about preparation. So let's start with work, for example, right? The way you're gonna prepare your site station, the way you're gonna prepare your reservation, the way you're gonna prepare all your material, your coffee stations, your uniform, your team, everything makes that, it will make you gain confidence when you're preparing in advance. However, or at least inside your private lives as well, the time you will wake up, the way you will anticipate your next day. But the goal, I think, is to have a goal, because once you have a goal, it's easier for you guys to reach it, especially when you write it down. For example, there is some stupid exercise that you can do. You write your to-do list before sleeping on the next day, and just because you have it on the paper, it will be much, much, much easier to complete your checklist. Whatever you want to go to do your groceries, you want to go to the gym, you want to do your meditation, you want to spend more time reading, whatsoever. Everything is doable as long as you put more intention into it. The cool thing is that you don't have to work harder to start thinking more ahead and to be more prepared. It's just about adjusting your mindset and to know what your priorities are. For example, I noticed last night, I don't know if you guys did it, but some candles were already changed for today. And sometimes, just like this, thinking like a step ahead and a day ahead. You get some time to kill because you get a couple of tables that are still chilling for dinner. For example, table 6 that arrive very late at night and you have to wait for them until the end of the night. It doesn't require more energy to start changing the candles, prepare your side stations, or start thinking about your table allocation for the next day. But when you arrive today, wow, everything will look like easy because you already started to tackle things ahead. Okay, so on itself, guests only see the tip of the iceberg, right? They don't see all the hard work that comes underneath. The training, the mise en place, the setup, the systems, the briefings, the leadership's meeting, the strategy calls that we make in order to provide like a seamless experience. So again, we offer at Meyer the results without seeing or understanding the hard work behind it. But the more you anticipate it over time, and the smoother it will be every single day. Think about it, your bedroom, right, or your house. If you do the cleaning once a month, of course you will have to spend 2-3 hours to make it spot on. At the opposite, you could also choose to just spend 5 minutes a day and just having constantly clean and maintain without having to spend an entire afternoon having to clean it up and to put it back in order. In fact, I learned this when I used to be in Singapore. I moved to Singapore when I was 22 years old. In fact, I was working for Wolfgang Puck for his flagship Spago. I was 22 years old, managing 42 employees that were all older than me. And in fact, my brain wasn't there at all. I had the title, I had the power, I had the opportunity to lead in an incredible high-end setting, and in fact, I didn't give a shit. All right, I was young, I was just thinking about partying and not necessarily assuming my responsibilities that I had from work. Right? And again, it has been very hurtful, and I had to learn, unfortunately, from my mistakes, because if I was putting my mind straight and understanding that I was doing it for me first to reply and to bring myself those opportunities from work, I could have continued my partying, enjoying my life in my 22 years old, while still being at the top of what I wanted to do, okay? And build myself like a better reputation professionally that I wanted to make originally, right? So preparation is not only about planning, but it's about having just the right state of mind. It's just about being focused, because again, I want you to think about the dreams that you have in your life and how do you intend to achieve it. You cannot achieve a dream if you don't have a game plan on how you plan to achieve it, right? If you want to work, for example, in real estate, what steps are you going to take in order to achieve those things? Because maybe you could end up in real estate next year, but if you don't take the plan and the actions and the steps towards it, you could end up in real estate within 5 or 6 years, right? It's just a random example. So greatness is just something extra, but greatness on itself doesn't come just from the work that you do on the clock, all right? It's all the reps that you're gonna put before and after, the extra reading, the extra study, the extra care, the extra commitment, the extra questioning and reflection that you're gonna put in order to make it very, or at least flow in a very natural way, okay? Because we only rise to the level of our training, and we usually start to see the true color of someone when the stress starts happening into our life or during our services. Were you prepared or not prepared? Did you think 3 steps ahead? Did you visualize things? As a leader, visualizing helps me a lot, because every time we start a service, every day, I always plan and imagine the worst that can happen. A team member that doesn't show up, 5 walk-ins that arrive at the same time, electricity that can shut down, we run out of half of the menu. All those kind of crazy scenarios come into my mind, because if they were to happen at some point, I already prepared that situation into my mind, so I never felt surprised. Again, be an actor and not a passenger. And again, I'm telling you this from a lot of experiences, because I've been facing those walls many times. And again, when we hurt ourselves into those kind of issues, those things are the true reps, because we don't learn from our successes, but we learn from our failure. So when it happens to you, embrace it. It's a good thing. Just learn from it, understand the outcome that could have results otherwise, and then move on. Don't let yourself demotivated, because some days can be harder than others. Okay? Now, act instead of react. Think like a pilot. I always love to give some analogies from airline companies, right? When you board into a plane, okay, 30 to 40 minutes, you will be in the sky, right? Boarding time. But imagine how many hours those pilots have been arrived, or at least how many hours those pilots arrived to the airport before to prepare the flight plan, to have pre-shift with their cabin crews and the other co-pilot, etc., etc. They were aware of the schedule way before. They usually have 24 hours of rest. They are not allowed to drink at least 24 or 48 hours before each and every flight. It's like an entire preparation for your flight to lift up like if everything was normal, despite the amount of technology and craziness that can happen. So think like a pilot, right? Think several steps ahead, because over time it will help you to compound and to rise effortlessly. And that's something that I've learned over the years, because all those mistakes and adjustments and successes that I've had in my career, once you realize that you can adjust it and pivot into your private life, all those new habits start to flow very much naturally. Okay? I just want to finish on last 2 points. When you become consistent, you become calmer, more reliable, and people trust you more. Again, think about the service. Think somebody that knows their menu, that knows the steps of service, that knows the different steps that you have on service, that knows how to prepare yourself and to be especially consistent, because at the end of the day, consistency is key. If on Monday and Tuesday you're prepared, rock solid, etc., but then on Friday, Saturday, you go out, you get trashed, you arrive hangover, and you don't give a shit about nothing, your consistency will work against you, your inconsistency at least, right? So think about it, to find your cruising speed, your cruising altitude that you want to fly on, and then commit to it on a daily basis. Because you don't need to change your life. You simply need to start a little earlier. Think about it on your private, personal life, and then apply it also to your work. Because again, one goes with another, and everything that you learn on each side can be applicable to the other one. So now, I just wanted to come back on the framework itself. So just think about it, for example, before service, people check. Check your teams, make sure they are okay. This is what I use also as a leader, for example, right? When I arrive on pre-shift, I look at all your energies individually. I can see who is on fire, who is tired, who is exhausted, who I can count on, who will be the A player of the night. Number 2, guest view check. Same thing, the way you observe your tables, the way you observe your guests, their body language, and manage their expectations as well. Stations. A good service is due to 80% of a good mise en place. If at some point you realize in the middle of the service, shit, you have no more trays, no more sparkling water, your side station is empty, nobody has checked the silverware, and where was my linen bag, and that's where you start running and wasting time, and boom, same thing. It will play on your stress, play on your ability to deal with your guests, and also won't please your management or leadership and the people that you have in front of you. So again, you're shooting yourself into the feet. So have a plan, know your sections, know where are your VIPs, where are your guests going to be sat. That's why I review, for example, before service with Tyler, his tables and the table allocation, just to make sure that he already has an idea of all the back and forth that he's gonna has to do from opening to closing, to make sure that it makes sense for him and he's already prepared, he doesn't have a last minute surprise. And then final check, have a proper walkthrough inside the restaurant. Your lights, your candle, your music, and all the equipment that you need, your solid game plan, so it's easy for you guys to really perform and shine, okay? Any questions before we end this? Because I know it's a deep and heavy topic that balance on many different subjects at the same time, but does it make sense for you guys?